Hello, Frank. This is LCE Graphics, and this is a test that we've done of the stitcher head that you sent back to us for repair. Okay, this is test number 1. You can see there's quite a few staples on this sheet, and every one of them are perfect. There are no missed staples or wrongly bent prongs. And here's test number 2. Okay, same number of staples, and you can see all the prongs are perfectly straight and set properly. There's no variation. Now we typically, when we redo these heads, we only do one test like this, which is quite a few staples. You can see, I don't know how many, but I'd probably say 45 or 50. And we do them at high speed. I'm going to demonstrate to you how we do these staples. You can see that it's done faster than any booklet maker would ever run. Okay, so that's 3 test sheets that I'm going to send you along with your stapler. All right. Okay. Now here's the way we do this. Basically what I do, now this stapler, just so you know, is a board stapling unit, but it is the same exact mechanical function as the Duplo, Horizon, or any other system. All wire-fed staplers operate exactly the same way. You have clinchers at the bottom, exactly like the clinchers that you have on your Duplo, and of course the stitch head, which is the same. Of course, these stitcher units can operate with any stitch head, whether Hohner or Interlake or any of the stitch head models that are made. Okay, so anyway, this is what we do. When we do a test, we push the staple button and we hold it in. Okay, see the staples there? Okay, now I'm going to do it again, and we do that repeatedly by holding the button in and letting it staple. As fast as you cycle, the clutch will allow it to recycle. And I can assure you there's no booklet maker that would staple as fast as this. Okay? Every one of the staples are perfect. Okay? Now, we'll go to the other side. We're going to do another. And this is going to be test sheet number 4. We're going to send that along with it. See how that's done. Whoop. Okay, there you have another. Now one thing you want to notice, yeah, the staples are perfectly straight, okay? That's something you want to look at, because in order to do that, I had to shim the stitch head. I don't know if you can see that shim I'm pointing to. It's a little cardboard shim in the back there, and we have different thicknesses of those shims that we use when we're testing a stitch head, and there's no stitch heads that you don't just slap them on. In fact, when Duplos come from the factory, even Horizon or CP board, they all come with spacers in them, because there's no way to get the clincher from underneath and the stitch head perfectly aligned vertically. So that's why we do it. Okay, so this is test number 4. As you can see, all the staples are perfect. They're exactly what you look for, is the same distance between the prongs. See that? All the way across. Now there's going to be a little bit of variation. One way you can tell when your stitch heads are operating okay, if you can look over here to the side, you can't see it in the video right now. I wish I could take it loose for you, but the problem is that I'm working on this by myself today. I don't have anybody with me here. But you can look at the staple, that whenever Hohner heads are stapling, there's always a straight wire sitting in there, okay? And it sticks out the right-hand side of the staple head. So you can focus in on that, and you can see where that staple is actually coming out the same length every time. That is vital, and your stitch head is doing everything perfectly. Now here, what did we change? All right, first of all, up here at the top of the stitch head, I had to adjust the length of the staple, okay? And I'll show you why. I'm going to send you this, but this is what I was getting originally when I first started testing the unit. You can see here how the prongs were going sideways and all that. See that right there? And there were some of these where the staples weren't even going in. Here's the first sheet. You can see right there. See the staples? That right there is what it was doing when I first put the staple head on. And you can see behind here, you got a really long prong, but the other prong isn't even coming through the paper. See that? Okay, that's what the stitch head was doing when I first got it in, and I installed it as you see there, okay? And of course we can always align our clincher with this. You know, we always align the clincher centered on this part right here, okay? The stitch holder, this unit right here, the former, that's it right there. And that's where it always centers, okay? So I'm gonna set these along with it so you can see. Then finally, after I corrected it, you can see the difference now. As this thing, you see how over here the one prong's longer than the other, and I kept adjusting it till I got the prong centered. Okay. All right. So how did I do all this? First of all, I had to increase the length of the staple because the staple wasn't long enough. Now that may have something to do with your wire. Unfortunately, no two wire manufacturers are the same. What you see here that we use is a premium wire, and we sell it. But like I said, like you said before, that your machine was running, you know, the other two stitch heads were running fine. I don't really understand the answer to that, but this stitch head, we did nothing to it, no repairs, we didn't replace any parts, we just installed it. I had to adjust the length of the staple quite a bit to get the other side of the prong to come out, and then right here is where you adjust the curl of the staple, okay? This little adjustment right there, that's that one right there, okay? Right now where it's set, the curl is perfect. It's supposed to be straight. The wire is supposed to come out straight. If you're going to have a little curl, maybe a hair down, but never up. And this was curling way up when I first put it in there. Also, the position of your staple, I had to adjust that. That's adjusted by this little dial right here. The position of the staple was off center, and that's the reason. And that's the reason why you were getting this kind of staple before. See, that's when I first started setting it up. You see how some of the staples, like this one right here, like this one, you see where that was got a very short tab on this side, and I had to adjust this setting in order to correct that, okay? So I'm going to mark it with a Sharpie where everything is. I mean, theoretically, we've been doing this for a long time. We've been servicing in stitch heads for like, I don't know, 30 years now. So it doesn't mean that we're perfect, okay? But anyway, still, all I did was adjust. I adjusted the length of the staple. I increased the length dramatically. And then I adjusted the curl, which was way off. And then I adjusted the position of the staple. Because this adjustment sets where the staple is. So if one prong's longer than the other, this is how you correct that. If the curl is up or down, this is how you correct that with this adjustment here. And of course, the length of the staple is up here at the top. So you've got the length of the staple, the curl, and the position of the staple. All three were way off. So there's no way this stitch head would have stapled. So I don't, like I said, you should be able to put the stitch head on your machine and run. Unfortunately, I don't have a DBM 500 system in our inventory right now that we could test a stitch head on, but it doesn't matter whether it stitches here. It'll stitch on anything that you put it on because it's the same exact principle. You have a driver here bar just like your Duplo. You have a clincher at the bottom just like the Duplo. They're all exactly the same design. There's no difference. All staplers operate exactly the same way. Okay, so anyway, I'm gonna like I said, I just did another sample, so I've done 4 pages of staples, and one I showed you how we do it very, very fast. So that's how we do it to make sure that stitch head, if that stitch head isn't functioning properly, there's no way I could have produced that many staples on a sheet that fast. It's just not going to happen. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close this video off now, and I'm going to send back your stitch head. And thank you very much. Bye now.